Professor Kuma here. We're talking about the Aristotle's three appeals. Okay, let's talk about Aristotle's three appeals. They are as follows. There is the ethical appeal. There is the emotional appeal. And then there is the logical appeal. Okay? Oftentimes you're going to see upside down triangles, or maybe the other way. Maybe you'll see a pyramid type of a shape. Oftentimes this is how we represent the three appeals, okay? And it's important to understand Aristotle's three appeals if you're going to understand the basics of any argument. You see Aristotle's three appeals in every kind of arguing, every kind of reasoning that you see in your everyday life. Whether it is a salesperson trying to get the sale, whether it is a politician trying to get voters to vote for him or her, we use the three appeals on a regular basis. How well or how poorly we use the three appeals generally determines the outcome. So let's talk just a little bit about the three appeals. Let's start with the ethical appeal first. The ethical appeal. Okay? Generally, when you hear the word ethics, there's some things that come to mind. What are some things that come to mind? Morals, what's right and what's wrong. Is it ethical to do this, or is it unethical? It's unethical to steal, or it's an ethical thing. You're in an ethical dilemma. Who should I help? I can only help one person, but there's two people that need help. Well, yes, that is one way we use the word ethical, but going forward, when it comes to arguing, I want you to start thinking about the ethical appeal as the shared values appeal, okay? Okay? The shared values appeal. And this is a way to think about it, that because not everyone believes the same things. We understand this, right? It can be something that seems trivial, like, who's the best sports team? I'm sure you've met somebody, or you've been able to say, you've been able to almost use the leverage of, hey, you're a Colts fan, I'm a Colts fan, why are we fighting? Or, there are things that you can use that, hey, we both like this thing. So since I like it and you like it, you know what? You should trust me. You should trust me because we're both into the same kind of music, into the same kind of entertainment. There's a shared value. We both value the same thing. So that's on a surface level, but it goes deeper than that. We both value, how about this? A value that we both have is that we both believe that children should be cared for with love. Okay? We both believe that. We both share that value. So I can use that. I say, well, of course you believe that children should be cared for with love, don't you? Of course, right. I believe the same thing. So therefore, if you believe that and I believe that, we're on the same side, right? That's why you should vote for me to be the next mayor of the town. Because I care about the same things you care about, okay? And so what that is an ethical appeal. We both believe the same things. So therefore, I'm going to use that information to further whatever it is. My argument is you should vote for me for your mayor. That's the argument, okay? So how do I get you to do that? Well, I've said, you value this, I value this. So my argument is vote for me for mayor. My argument has nothing to do with, it has something, I guess, to do with children being cared for. But I'm saying because we both care about this one thing, you should care about me being your mayor. It goes on. For instance, and sometimes these things can divide people. Okay, so some people disagree on things. Okay, should marijuana be legal? Should marijuana be illegal? Okay, that's a value. Your belief is a value. Some people will share your belief on that issue. Some people will not. And you're more likely to trust and to agree with someone who you have a shared value with than someone who you do not. That's just human psychology, okay? That's just the basics of the way we work. Aristotle figured this out over 2,000 years ago, put it into practice. We've been using it. We use this as human beings. You've been using it your whole life. Maybe you didn't even know. So think about ethical, when anytime you hear someone make an argument and it's based off of a shared value, okay? You like clean, I believe the waters should be clean. We should not have polluted waters in our town. Do you believe this too? Oh, good, because this is why we need to pass this particular law into, you need to vote for this law. Okay? We're using this to get this. So that ethical appeal. Another thing that we often, when we're talking about ethical appeals, is how we value experience, how we value authority, okay? Now, a shared value is that, okay? So let's think about it this way. I want you to really think about shared values and then being in a position of authority. Okay, now what does this mean? No, it does not mean that you're the principal or you're the president or whatever. It could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means this. Let's suppose I come to your town and you live in Indianapolis, I live in Cleveland, and I say Indianapolis needs to build a whole new water park over here, and people in Indianapolis need to stop driving their cars like they drive because they drive so poorly. They need to drive it in a much better way. And you, being a person from Indianapolis, would naturally say, well, why should I listen to you? You don't even live here. You're not a person who is an authority to make that kind of a claim. Do you get where I'm going with that? Let's suppose I might say, maybe I would talk to a person, maybe I would go to your work, and I would say, hey, you need to be doing it this way. Well, who are you to tell me that? You have no authority to tell me that because you don't know what this job entails. Perhaps I'm going to go up to, maybe I would go up to a woman and say, you know what, you need to live your life in a completely different way and you need to make these changes. Well, who are you to tell me that? There are groups that, and there is experiences, there are things that put you in a position of authority that you can speak to a certain subject. And if you're not in that group, you really shouldn't be speaking to that subject. That's where you get someone else who is an authority figure. So let's say, and I guess the most commonly used one is people who are doctors, right? Anytime you're going to give an argument about something that's healthy or something that's unhealthy, you're probably going to bring in a doctor or someone who is a scientist or a biologist or someone who has credentials in that field. If you think about it, right now the only reason you're listening to me is because you assume that I'm educated in the field of English composition. And you're right, I did have to go to school for a while for that, okay? So that puts me in a position of authority. Now, you can be in a position of authority without having education. You just need to have experience, okay? So think about it this way. You're a college student, okay? So when you speak to a person who has never been a college student, you can say, this is what it's like to be a college student. I know because I have experience in this field. I am in a position of authority. The reason why I separate these two is because sometimes people don't see the connection, but really they are connected. We value the opinion, right? Shared values. We value the opinion of people who have experience. We value the opinion of people who can speak to something, who are in authority positions because of their experience, their credentials, or what they know or what they don't know. I can speak to certain things that you cannot speak to. You can speak to certain things that I cannot speak to. Everyone has their own skill set. So let's suppose I am going to make an argument about the environment. I am not a scientist. And so I would have to say, well, okay, the best thing that I can do in this case is find people who are in authority, find out what they say, and use that to my benefit, okay? And then that would at least put me in a position where I'm saying, well, these people who are experienced, who do have this expertise, they say this, okay? So remember, whenever it comes to the ethical appeal, really, we're always talking about shared values. We value people's experiences. We have certain values about what is right, what is wrong. We have certain things that we value. What is valuable, right? What is worth your time and money, and what is not worth your time and money. What is good, what is bad, okay? But this will vary depending on the audience. Some people will say we should close all the coal mines down and never use coal again. Some people will say, no, we need to use coal forever, and these other sources of electricity are no good, right? So you have to really know your audience, okay? You really have to know your audience to understand, okay, what should I say, what should I not say? What are some shared values that I can bring up that, look, we both agree on these things. We both agree that these things are important. And so you want to bring those things up and use those to your advantage whenever you're making a strong argument. So that is the ethical appeal. You're appealing to the audience's values. When we say appeal, we're appealing to the audience. We're appealing to the values that the audience has. Do you think that children are the future? Well, of course, I do too. If you value the children, then you should also value their quality of water. And that's why we should make this change in our local community. So think about that. Anytime you're making an argument, and also anytime someone's making an argument at you or to a specific audience, you can use clues like this to determine who the audience is. Okay, I want you to really think about that. That is the ethical appeal. All right, keep working on it.